Guys, welcome back to the Independent Investor Channel. My name is Ryan. It's going to be a fundamental video where I take you through a 4-step process as a new investor on what are those critical steps to reach your first $10,000 and to get to that first $10,000 as quickly as you can, okay? You're not going to be successful financially in life and get to those millions of dollars if you are incapable of meeting your first $10,000 threshold. And I speak about this all the time on the channel. It's one of those fundamental messages that I push out there for new investors who may be extremely confused by the investing landscape. And it's very easy to become confused if you had a very simple game plan to understand what it is that you could do, what it could actually mean for you. It may encourage you to actually say, you know what, this is possible, I can do this. So if it's your first time tuning into the Independent Investor Channel, want to hit the subscribe button, help us support the message, man. Let's get right into it. If you guys have ever wondered about investing and getting up to your first $10,000 milestone, I'll be the first to tell you that's the hardest one, all right? Because you have to overcome so many psychological barriers to get to that first $10,000. Many people will not ever achieve that milestone, all right? For you guys out there that dare to dream and listen to how you can actually strategically break down what it takes to get to that first $10,000, I can tell you that it's not a magic stock that you're gonna buy and just end up with $10,000 overnight, okay? That doesn't happen, all right? Penny stock investing is just about, it's worse than gambling, all right? So we can put that aside as well. And if you sit back and say, okay, Ryan, you know, I'm listening, what do I need to do? Do I need to have capital up front? And I'm gonna show you guys how actually a starting amount of $25 without any real starting funding capital can really help you achieve this $10,000 in a matter of a few years. And you guys are gonna really be interested to know how quickly you can actually get there and how achievable that goal is. The first thing that we wanna address is the account. We provide those solutions through the Independent Investor Channel. We are not an advocate of fees on this channel. We stay away from the financial planners. This program that I'm gonna outlay for you guys, anybody can do it. It's very simple. It's just a process to be followed. And if you're a new investor and you know absolutely nothing about the stock market, this is a step-by-step approach to make sure that you are on the right track to achieving this first 10,000 goal. The account has to have a few things, all right? We don't discuss Robinhood on the Independent Investor Channel because it is void of retirement accounts, all right? M1 Finance and the online trading platform that I recommend all the time as well is First Trade. First Trade allows you to trade for free, as does M1, all right? So in choosing the account, we wanna make sure that they offer retirement accounts, and those two do, and to make sure that if you're a new investor, you're not gonna be chewed up by the $5 to $7 trading fee to get into the dollar cost average that we're gonna talk about down the line a little bit. It's very, very important that those fees don't chew you up and you're able to invest in that asset when and how you want, all right? So the freedom and flexibility in choosing the account is paramount in helping you get to that $10,000 because you have to make sure that the dollars that are being contributed are growing unobstructed going forward and not being consumed by fees within the account, all right? So you gotta start the right account. We provide those solutions on the channel. The next thing is the allocation piece. The allocation piece is something that you could sit back and say, you know, Ryan, I've got $25. I think I could find that in my budget. That's what I started with personally back some many moons ago. $25 was right for me, all right? For a lot of you guys out there that are looking at this and saying, well, $50 is a little light, Ryan. I can actually jump up and maybe do $100 or maybe even $250. Perhaps some of you guys have waited a little longer to start approaching this $10,000 goal. What does it mean? Are we just throwing money onto a pot without really any understanding of where that money could be down the line? And just to give you guys some perspective, $50, it's going to take you 10 years to get to this 10,000, all right? That's assuming an anticipated rate of return per year of around 7%. Very doable in an account that doesn't charge you fees, all right? But if you start to identify here what it would be at $100 per month, if you could bump it up, you know, and do $100, it's only going to take you 6 years to get to this first 10,000. And finally, if you were able to bump it up and do $250 a month, in less than 3 years, this is actually less than 3 years, you would be at this $10,000 milestone. And for you guys out there that are in your early 20s and you're able to do this right here, this should be an eye-opener, all right? Because for a lot of you guys, investing will scare you, okay? You don't know where to start. I've just told you that in less than 3 years, going from 20 to 23 or 22 to 25 or 25 to 28, you could achieve this goal in less than 3 years with a $250 allocation schedule. All right, so step number 2 is to choose the allocation schedule. Now you don't have to pick one of these. You're going to fall in one of these ranges here. The ironic part about it is on this $50 contribution limit, I ran the numbers to do $1,000 starting amount toward this $10,000, and it was amazing. It only added 1 year actually to this, so it really wasn't that big of a deal to actually have $1,000 of starting capital here. These figures are run with $1,000 starting capital, but if you didn't have that $1,000 up front and you just started funding the account, it really didn't make that much difference over this time period, right? So this should really be your benchmark in saying, you know what, I don't have $1,000, but I absolutely have $25 or $50 to start contributing to this $10,000 goal on my allocation step. All right, so that's step number 2. Step number 3, this is the important one, and I always talk about investors from $0 to $10,000, just going with a passive asset. It makes it so much easier. You're getting such a bargain by just entering into a passive ETF or index fund up to your first $10,000. There's going to be a lot of people who hit me up and say, Ryan, I don't want to wait until $10,000 until I can start buying single stock. Okay, I'm going to meet you 50-50. If you get up to $5,000 and you want to start buying single stock inside of your self-directed Roth IRA account, I give you the green light to do this, all right? But these models are built on a passive schedule. You're not going to have to be buying and selling stock. You're not going to be having to wonder about when to buy more stock or when to sell stock. None of that is going to exist in this program, because if your risk tolerance is low and you came to me and said, Ryan, I'm interested in investing, but I don't have a lot of tolerance to the stock market. I really don't want to lose a lot of money. I want safe investments. What can you help me with, Ryan? I'm going to put you into the VTI. The VTI is the total market index spread across 3,700 different companies within this one fund. You don't need multiple funds. You only need this one. So we've got the account, we've got the funding schedule, and we've got the asset that we're going to house within this account in the VTI. If you had a little bit more tolerance to the stock market, I would recommend that you step it up and maybe go with the VOO, which is the S&P 500, which is a basket of 507 stocks within this ETF as well, all right? Now, there's a lot of other comparable products out there. I just offer these 2 solutions to cover a broad base of the majority of the subscriber base tuning into the Independent Investor channel that's looking to either self-assess themselves as a low tolerance to the stock market or a medium tolerance to the stock market, and to provide those 2 solutions right there to go ahead and just buy and place within this account. The last thing that you're getting with this whole bargain, and this is what gets missed a lot of times when we talk about how to get to this first $10,000, many of the videos on YouTube are talking about how to invest $1,000, how to invest $5,000, how to invest $10,000, and they take that money and they chop it up and they give you a few stock picks, maybe throw an ETF in there, and that's good enough. This video is completely different. It's the fundamental steps in knowing how much time it could potentially take at a rate of return of 7%, at a funding schedule, all right? How much time would it take for you to realistically get to this goal, all right? Now, these aren't hard and fast rules. It could take you 3 years. It could take you 10 years. But the real takeaway for the new investors that are watching this video is, this is possible. This is possible. I can do this. And you can seemingly do it in a lot less time than probably you thought, because you just didn't know how to enter the confusing landscape of the stock market. Now, I'm going to give you a few tidbits before I finish up this video, in that you're getting the dollar cost average program. Once you get this all set up, you can go ahead and set these two ETFs up to where the dividends actually roll back into these ETFs and buy more stock for you. That's going to help your compounding growth going forward. Furthermore, you can do the dividend reinvestment plan, which is taking the actual dividend and rolling it back into the stock. And the dollar cost averaging here that I talked about right here with the allocation, the dollar cost averaging is super, super important, because that's going to allow you to interject month in and month out. Sometimes the stock market is higher, sometimes it is lower. But that phenomenon known as dollar cost averaging is actually a benefit to you as a new investor. And then, of course, the drip with the roll into the dividend payments to actually help with the compounding effect. And finally, one of the things that does not get talked about on YouTube enough is the aspect of diversification. And with each of these solutions within this account, you are buying diversification right up front. And that's very, very important for a new investor not to get sent off track when you're trying to achieve this first $10,000 goal. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video, man. I hope this opened your eyes to the possibility of getting to this first $10,000 goal for yourself. A lot of folks that I talk to don't think that it's possible, and I'm here to tell you it's absolutely possible. If you follow these steps to a T, these steps were very, very carefully thought out for a new investor who has no experience whatsoever in the stock market to step into and succeed in achieving this baseline within their portfolio in a relatively achievable time frame. Guys, if it's your first time tuning in, you want to subscribe to the channel, share the message with folks out there that you know need to hear this information and just don't know where to start, send them our way. Leave your comments at the bottom of the video, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this message on how to reach your first $10,000 goal in the stock market. Many people will fail at this, but if you follow these steps, guys, I know it's achievable over the course of an achievable amount of time frame here, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and good luck in your investment future.